Welcome to episode 192 of the Pharmacist Voice podcast. I'm Kim Newlove, the host. Today, we are talking about the oath of a pharmacist. If you're new to the Pharmacist Voice podcast, welcome. Again, my name is Kim Newlove, and I'm the host. I'm a pharmacist by training, but I'm not in clinical practice anymore. I made a career transition to voice actor and podcast host. As a voice actor, I help clients get their point across in the medical space. Among other things, I provide medical narration to clients in the pharmaceutical, biotech, and continuing medical education industries. Why did I become a voice actor? I was inspired by my nonverbal son, who has autism, to combine my background as a pharmacist with my speaking voice and launch my business, The Pharmacist Voice, in 2017. My son Craig helped me realize the power of having a voice and using it. What do I talk about on this podcast? I have solo shows and I have interview shows. My solo podcast episodes are about some aspect of being a pharmacist, a voice actor, a pharmacist podcaster, or my career transition from pharmacist to voice actor and podcast host. My interview shows feature a variety of people who use their voices to advocate for something, educate in some way, or entertain so that you are inspired to use your voice too. My listeners are typically pharmacists, pharmacy students, pharmacy technicians, pharmacy professors, pharmacy podcasters, and medical narrators. This is episode 192, and you can find the show notes from this episode on my website, thepharmacistvoice.com. Just click on the podcast tab and search for episode 192. Today, we are talking about the oath of a pharmacist. It's been a few years since I took that oath, by the way. I graduated with my Bachelor of Science degree in pharmacy from the University of Toledo on May 12, 2001. On that day, one of my pharmacology professors, Dr. Gerald Sherman, administered, as they call it, he administered the oath of a pharmacist to my class. Do I remember wearing my cap and gown and standing shoulder to shoulder with my classmates with my right hand raised and saying that particular oath? Not vividly, but I did reread the oath so I could prepare for this episode. I'll read it to you in just a minute. Why am I talking about the oath? It's because this is the last episode of 2022, and the end of the year is always a good time to reflect. Now, according to the American Association of Colleges of Pharmacy's website, which is aacp.org, the oath of a pharmacist was first developed in 1983. Who wrote this oath? It was the AACP Board of Directors, and then it was revised in 1994 and 2007 by the joint APhA Academy of Student Pharmacists and the AACP Council of Deans Task Force on Professionalism. The 2021 Oath Revision Steering Committee conducted several joint sessions. This is from the website. Several joint sessions to review and discuss the oath from June to October. In addition, the committee developed and implemented a survey and conducted town hall meetings for faculty members, student pharmacists, and pharmacists to address concerns. The new Oath of a Pharmacist was adopted by AACP and APhA in November of 2021, and it reflects the organization's commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism, which is also known as DEIA. There's a link to the oath in the show notes. In review, the oath was first developed in 1983. It was revised in 1994, 2007, and 2021. The 1994 version was used when I graduated in 2001. Now, if you're graduating in 2023, the 2021 version will likely be part of your graduation ceremony. What is the difference between the 1994 version that I encountered on my graduation day in 2001 and the 2021 version? For one thing, the 1994 version had 7 lines, and the 2021 version has 10 lines. I'll read both versions to you, and then I will point out 4 changes that I noticed. Now, let's start with the 1994 version. This is the one from my graduation. Where did you get a copy of this, you may be asking? Well, it was not actually in my graduation program. I found it in a book that is on my bookshelf. What is the book called? It is The Pharmacy Student Companion, Your Roadmap to Pharmacy Education and Careers, 3rd edition, by Daniel H. Albrant and Linda R. Harteker. It was published by the American Pharmaceutical Association in 1999. I will put the title in the show notes, but please note this is probably not on Amazon.com. And FYI, I didn't just misspeak. APhA is currently known as the American Pharmacists Association. Back when I went to pharmacy school in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was known as the American Pharmaceutical Association. History lesson for you. All right, here we go. The Oath of a Pharmacist, 1994. At this time, I vow to devote my professional life to the service of all humankind through the profession of pharmacy. I will consider the welfare of humanity and relief of human suffering my primary concerns. I will apply my knowledge, experience, and skills to the best of my ability to assure optimal drug therapy outcomes for the patients I serve. I will keep abreast of developments and maintain professional competency in my profession of pharmacy. I will maintain the highest principles of moral, ethical, and legal conduct. I will embrace and advocate change in the profession of pharmacy that improves patient care. I take these vows voluntarily with the full realization of the responsibility with which I am entrusted by the public. I feel like I should say something official like, here ends the reading of the 1994 Oath of a Pharmacist. There you have it. Now, at this time, I want to read the 2021 version, which, again, you can find at aacp.org. Links in the show notes. Let's go, Oath of a Pharmacist 2021. I promise to devote myself to a lifetime of service to others through the profession of pharmacy. In fulfilling this vow, I will consider the welfare of humanity and relief of suffering my primary concerns. I will promote inclusion, embrace diversity, and advocate for justice to advance health equity. I will apply my knowledge, experience, and skills to the best of my ability to assure optimal outcomes for all patients. I will respect and protect all personal and health information entrusted to me. I will accept the responsibility to improve my professional knowledge, experience, and self-awareness. I will hold myself and my colleagues to the highest principles of our profession's moral, ethical, and legal conduct. I will embrace and advocate changes that improve patient care. I will utilize my knowledge, skills, experiences, and values to prepare the next generation of pharmacists. I take these vows voluntarily with the full realization of the responsibility with which I am entrusted by the public. Here ends the reading of the 2021 Oath of a Pharmacist. In my opinion, there have been 4 major changes. First of all, the opening line is a little different. It was, "At this time, I vow to devote my professional life to the service of all humankind through the profession of pharmacy." The 2021 version says, "I promise to devote myself to a lifetime of service to others through the profession of pharmacy. In fulfilling this vow," and then it goes on with all the other points. There's mostly a difference where it says service to others in the new version, and in the old version, it basically says to all humankind. It's a little bit different, but I noticed it, so I thought I'd share it. Let's move on. Second, there's a line about inclusion, diversity, health equity, and more. It reads, "I will promote inclusion, embrace diversity, and advocate for justice to advance health equity." That is new. Third, there is a line about protecting personal and health information. It reads, "I will respect and protect all personal and health information entrusted to me." Fourth and finally, there's a line about preparing the next generation of pharmacists. It reads, "I will utilize my knowledge, skills, experiences, and values to prepare the next generation of pharmacists." I would say that the oath has changed for the better over the years. It is more modern and inclusive. As you continue to practice pharmacy or learn about pharmacy or teach pharmacy students in 2023, keep that oath in mind. We have vowed to consider the welfare of humanity and the relief of suffering as our primary concerns. We vow to embrace and advocate for change that improves patient care. We are preparing the next generation of pharmacists. The public trusts us to fulfill our vows. For those of you listening to this who are working in a numbers care situation in which your employer expects you to put metrics above the welfare of humanity and the relief of suffering, all those vows, I challenge you to use your voice, which sometimes means talking with your feet. If you're unable to fulfill your vows, meaning the 2021 AACP Oath of a Pharmacist, do something about it. If you see something, say something, and do something. You have vowed to embrace and advocate changes that improve patient care. Some metrics do not improve patient care. They improve bottom lines. Know the difference. To the employers who expect metrics to be met at the expense of optimal outcomes for patients, shame on you. A pharmacy is a healthcare setting, even when it's in a retail store. If you are a non-pharmacist telling a pharmacist to ignore the oath of a pharmacist in order to fatten your bottom line, shame on you. You have lost touch with reality and your expectations are unsafe. To anyone who is unaware of the oath of a pharmacist, especially the general public who we're serving, I hope this episode has helped. Pharmacists, pharmacy students, pharmacy technicians, and pharmacy professors listening to this, no one can make you care more about the numbers than you care about your patients. You get to decide what you care about. It's time to use your voice. Fight for the right to live out the oath of a pharmacist. Thanks for joining me today, and Happy New Year. Check out the show notes on thepharmacistvoice.com. Click on the podcast tab and search for episode 192.